If you were one of the 5 million people to become brand new gun owners this year, you might have looked at, considered, or purchased this firearm. In this video, we're taking a look at the brand new Taurus G3C, an updated follow-up to the exceptionally popular and modestly priced Taurus G2C. What's up everyone, welcome Squad and welcome to Slav Guns. I'm glad to have you here. A number of months ago we covered the Taurus G3C, the compact pistol from Taurus in both 9mm and 40 Smith & Wesson. Despite a few quirks, the pistols were reliable, provided above average magazine capacities, and were most of all attractively priced for brand new gun owners and gun owners on a budget. Since then, Taurus released this, the brand new Taurus G3C, an update to the G2C. So, how is this different? What problems did it solve? And most of all, is it worth it? In this video, we're going to take a complete initial look on the gun and answer those questions. Oh, daddy like. As we know, the Taurus G2C is a rebrand and an update of the original Taurus PT111 or PT111 G2. The Taurus G3C is the next evolution of the G2C. The G3C is a compact pistol that's currently available only in 9mm. The G2C is available in both 9mm and 40 Smith & Wesson, and a variety of colors and finishes, and I would assume we'll see the same in the future with the G3C. Starting at the top, you have a black 10 finish slide with a 3.2-inch stainless steel barrel. One of the things you will find in the G3C is that while it's an evolution, it's not an evolution for introducing many new features, but in a number of cases, an evolution and an improvement through simplification. The first one is the sights. The G3C goes to standard white dot front sight and flat back drift adjustable rear sights, a change from the adjustable rear sights on the G2C. On top of the slide, you will also find another change. If you're coming from a G2C, the lack of a pop-up loaded chamber indicator, which is now replaced by a simple view window in the top of the barrel. What you would do is just look through the top of the port, and if there's a cartridge or a piece of brass there, you would see it. Once again, it would simply tell you that there's something there, not whether it's a loaded round or just a spent piece of brass that was not ejected, a snap cap, or a friend playing a sick joke. In either case, however, every closed slide should be treated as a loaded slide anyway. Drop the mag, rack the slide, gun safety 101. Also on the slide, you will find very nice serrations on both the rear and the front of the gun. The serrations on the back are the same as those that you find in the G2C and are very reminiscent of what you have on a SIG P226, if I'm not mistaken. They're fairly deep, but not too aggressive. One point of criticism with the G2C has also been addressed, and we now have front slide serrations as well. Now, there are 3 cuts similar in depth to the rear serrations, but they're shorter in size. There would be space for more, however, there is Taurus and G3C 9x19 engraved right next to it. Moving down to the frame, we find it's largely the same as the G3C, albeit with a few changes. So, you still have a polymer frame with a number of nice features. First, you have very nicely textured grip with both the sides, the front, and the back panels textured in a way to give you a solid grip on the gun without causing your hands to bleed. While it may not be critical at a shooting range, let's say for example if you're shooting in a climate-controlled range while wearing gloves, if you're shooting in the middle of the summer, you have sweaty hands, or in a position where you have bloody hands and you're using this in a defensive situation, you will appreciate it. The trigger guard also has a fairly nice undercut, which allows you to get a higher grip on the gun, especially important on a compact pistol where you will feel the recoil more. Further up on the frame, you will find 4 scallop cuts, 2 in the middle of the grip, 1 on either side, and 2 smaller ones towards the front of the grip, which Taurus calls memory pads. Memory pads, they're not an ergonomic feature by any stretch, but rather a safety cue. They are simply a reminder to keep your finger out of the damn trigger guard until you're ready to shoot. On the front of the gun, you will find a small rail section where you can mount a light, laser, or bayonet. I would generally mount a bayonet, however I decided to be a bit more practical and I'm playing around with a brand new Olight Balder Mini light and laser. It works well and it mounts securely to the frame, and it works well with the trigger guard on these guns. On the grip, you'll also find 2 additional changes. First, unlike on the G3C, which has serial number on the bottom of the frame towards the front, you also have a frame cutout where you will see the serial number on the internal frame and trigger pack, much like we see on the modular SIG P320, Luger American, and Zev OZ9 pistols. The advantage there would be if you mess up your grip module and you want to replace it, you can just replace it and keep your trigger module, aka the serialized part. There would not be a new NICS check for it, something that's critical in permit states like New Jersey. Or should I call it New Jersey Stan? In this case, however, I am wondering as to what the serialized part actually is, because while we do have the internal frame serialized, there's also a serial number on the front part of the frame. In addition to this, you have both the barrel and the slide serialized as well. This is due to different gun laws throughout the world, where in some places like the US, it's typically that the frame or the receiver that's serialized, while in Europe it's the slide or the barrel. Lastly, on the bottom of the frame you have half scallops cut right around the edge of the frame and on the magazine base pad. This creates an indentation to more easily grip the magazine out of the gun. Okay, since we're down here, let's talk about the magazine. The G3C is a compact pistol, but it still offers a very generous 12-round magazine capacity for the 9mm model. For people in the banned states, don't feel bad, there is a 10-round magazine model for you as well. Both the 12-round and 10-round magazine versions come with 3 magazines, which is quite awesome and generous of Taurus to provide, especially at this price point. So moving up, you have the slide release and safety levers. The slide release is the same one that you find on the G3C, and it feels very similar to a number of other guns. I will say, however, given the choice, when you can rack and release the slide instead of using the slide release lever. The safety lever is a bit bigger sized, and I have no issues engaging it, even with the side of my thumb. Do note that while the scallop cuts are ambidextrous, the slide release and safety lever and the magazine release are not ambi. They're only for right-handers. There have been a few people who have, however, flipped the magazine release to the other side, so you can go and find those videos if you look around. Also, I must note, there is a quirk with the safety, and while I do not believe it's a major safety issue, you should be aware of it. I made a video on it, and you can find it linked above. Lastly, the biggest change and improvement on this gun is going to be the trigger. Taurus has engineered this double action striker system, which is also capable of restrike capabilities. Meaning, if the trigger is pulled, let me draw it this way, meaning if the trigger is pulled but the round does not go bang, you can simply pull the trigger again, and you do not need to rack the slide. This would be useful for something like a light primer strike or a round of ammo that has a hard primer. Or if you're loading ammo and instead of using small pistol primers, you're using small rifle primers. The biggest generational change from the G3C, and what was my biggest complaint, the G3C has changed the actual trigger blade, replacing the safety dongle in the middle. On the old G3C, you would have a piece of metal that sticks out even when depressed. On the G3C, the trigger blade feels a bit wider and the blade itself is flat when depressed, and it recesses in all the way. This is much more comfortable while firing. To take down the gun for cleaning, it works just like a Glock. Drop the magazine, check to make sure that the chamber is empty, gently hold the slide back a bit, and depress these two takedown pins. Let go of the slide, pull the trigger, and remove the slide. Take out the guide rod, the spring, remove the barrel, clean, lubricate, and put it back together. It's not the simplest. Sometimes this gets stuck. There we go. It's not the simplest, but it's also not difficult either, and there are definitely no tools required to take it down. The G3C is now available and has an MSRP of just $305 with a street price of just a bit below that. Now, granted, right now, if you're watching this as the video is released in the late summer 2020, we do have COVID pricing in effect. But once that settles, I expect you'll be able to find these guns for about $250 or so. Now, you can find more information on the gun and places to find it in the description below. Okay, let's load up some mags and put a few rounds down range. Okay, first rounds down are brand new G3C. Yeah, so in the hand it feels exactly the same as the G2, except the trigger. Oh, daddy-like. The combat sights on here, vast improvement. So this is exactly what I prefer, just a white dot in the front and black rear. Much quicker to acquire the target. And I'm actually shooting this directly behind the G3, which has 3-dot sights. And I had challenges with that, so let's keep shooting. And yes, I only had like 4 rounds in that mag. Okay. Ooh, you can actually do this if you're quick. You can load the magazine backwards. Ah, I missed that last one. So what is that? That's about 40 yards for that plate back there. Oh, this is awesome. I think this is going to be my new carry gun for a while. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. Oh. That is cool. That is really, really cool. So first impressions on the G3C versus the G2C. This is a vast improvement, not even just as a carry gun, but just as a gun in general. Let me put those down. So I think the sights here, even though they're not adjustable, are vastly improved in terms of target acquisition. It was much quicker to pick up the front sight, as I said, especially versus the G3C with the 3 dots that we were just shooting. The trigger on here feels very, very good. There's no more trigger blade in your way with the recoil going in there. Actually, one more note back onto the rear sight. It's not like just straight up, it's also a little bit cut on the sides, so it'll be a little bit more snack free. But also, once again, I think it did help improve target acquisition a lot quicker as well. And the gun was damn accurate too. So I mean, we're shooting anywhere from the closest plate is 15 yards to out to about 45 yards, 45 yards for that back plate, and we're hitting with this gun. A compact gun. I'm quite impressed. I'm generally quite impressed with this gun. And once again, I'm shooting this with the upcoming G3, and I was more accurate and I was faster with the G3C than that G3. First impressions are quite good. Definitely worthy of a carry gun. But obviously, make sure to put through a couple hundred rounds just to make sure the reliability is all there. Once again, with the G2C, I did have reliability issues, which were actually related to the magazine. And I think this is actually one of the guns that came with this one. Yeah, because there's the scallops here. I do number them. So actually, let me show you. So you can see like number 4 on here. I do number the magazines. I didn't number these new ones in yet, just to make sure I'm following up which ones have issues and which ones not. With the G2C, one of the magazines was causing issues, and the Taurus quickly resolved that. But overall, I'm actually quite impressed. Really, really, really like the gun. Let's shoot a little bit more. Taurus G3C. Bottom line, the Taurus G2C was a very good pistol that was a tremendous value with a few quirks. The G3C has addressed all of those issues. It simplified the design to be more reliable and has managed to maintain the price point. While I do not have a ton of ammo for this gun yet, I'm quite impressed and I'm quite hopeful to see how this gun holds up over the next few thousand rounds. The only 2 things I would bring up are number 1, the quirk with the safety lever, which I addressed in a prior video, linked above. And second, while I did not have issues with these magazines, I did have issues with one of the Taurus G2 magazines, which are the same magazines as for the G3C. Before using this gun for concealed carry, I urge you to put through at least a few hundred rounds of ammo through the gun and the magazines that you plan on carrying. This, however, is not specific to the G3C model, and it would apply to any gun. So, there you go. That's my take on, well, that's my initial take on the brand new Taurus G3C. You can find more information on the gun in the link below, and if you haven't watched the original Taurus G2C videos in both 9mm and 40 Smith & Wesson versions, I highly recommend you do, and you can find those linked above as well. I appreciate you watching, and I hope you learned something new. Please make sure to click the like button and share the video with your friends. Make sure you're subscribed and you have the notification bell on to receive up-to-date notifications on our latest videos, including the Taurus G3C, our ongoing precision rifle series, and more. You don't want to miss what's coming up next. As always, thank you for watching, keep on squatting, and I'll see you next time. Cool. Got through that one.